What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Door Rizz. Our special guest today is Mr. Ian Atkinson here with my co-host, Danny Pesci.
Yeah, this is a limited time only for today, and this podcast only. You have me, Danny Pesci, as your co-host on the D2D Rizz.
Let's go!
Ian, that fake
Let's
enthusiasm's
go!
getting me fired up.
No, it's real.
Is that real?
It is real!
Oh,
It is
yeah.
real.
Real, baby.
I'm pumped to be part of the Rizz, man.
Bro, you've been asking on this.
go.
You've been asking to get on the Rizz for how long now?
I do blow you up on Instagram to be on the Rizz, and then you blocked me.
It's true, because I, was like every day, just the Rizz is what it is. Like, I get it, bro. What do you want me to do?
Well,
Ian,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. So tell us a little more about yourself. What do you do?
Man, I work for Lumio, VP of Sales. So I manage multiple sales teams across the state of Texas, and we do residential solar. We're blowing up, but I think more importantly, in the leadership development aspect, right? We're helping guys, accomplish their goals in life, whether it's personal, financial, emotional, do different things, and seeing them progress, over the last few years. So more leadership development than anything, I believe.
That's awesome. It's especially with nowadays, everyone needs a little coaching in their life as well.
Yeah.
So tell us.
And you're a coach too now, Oscar. Is that right?
I was. My wife signed me up for my little daughter's soccer game, and so today was our first soccer game as a coach, and we went 8-1.
Wow.
Want to know?
Yep.
Coach Luna.
Let's go.
Let's
Was
go,
it,
baby.
Was it because of your fantastic coaching? Is the question I have had.
I threw some little good Rizz out there.
Okay.
So they're coached well.
That's what I figured, man. It's not about the players; it's about the coaching. I knew that. So speaking of being a good coach, Ian, you've obviously accumulated a good amount of staff. What do you contribute to that?
Oh man, I like to, when you start to build, right, you start to grow. I think as a manager and as a leader, a lot of times your best ability is your availability, right? So being there for my guys day in and day out, and providing really a structure to where they can count on us to be there every single day, and like we were talking about earlier, when you talk about culture. Right, guys, they will come to work with you for the money, but they will leave if there's lack of culture. Right, so that's what we're trying to build, and doing things outside of just working and knocking doors every day to help grow as people. So I attribute a lot of the growth to being able to do things outside of the day to day when it comes to business, being able to relate to these guys in every aspect of their life.
It's awesome. That's one of the things we were actually talking about a couple of episodes ago with Ryan, was building culture, and how culture was a huge impact in the company in general. But so tell us, what's your daily routine?
Daily routine. You hear guys talk about like, hey, I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I don't do that, right? I get up when my body wants to get up, but I would say my mental alarm clock goes off at about 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, and usually try to, the first 30 minutes, not on my phone, not doing anything business related, trying to get more in the routine of doing morning cardio, right? And so the first 30 minutes of my day are me time, right? Try to get my mind, body, and spirit kind of prepared for the day. And then, after that, at the office, which I live pretty close by, so I'm fortunate for that, at the office at 9. And, depending on the day, we, have a pretty strict schedule between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2, depending on what day of the week it is.
Nice.
Oscar, I'd like to say something. I mean, speaking of routines, that really gets me fired up, because one of my favorite routines was something that John Bankhead actually told me he does. He wakes up, he gets a cup of coffee, he takes a shit, and then he gets out of bed.
Yeah.
And it's like, the fact that he's so disciplined to that exact schedule speaks volumes.
Routine.
Same routine every single day. It's impressive. It's the same routine. Consistency.
Consistency.
The taking a shit before you get out of bed, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I haven't put that one in my routine yet.
You haven't been living.
Sounds relaxing.
It's entrepreneurial. It's an entrepreneurial
Saving
thing.
time. So, Ian, tell us where you're from. Obviously, people think you grew up in Dallas, as you're always in Dallas now.
No, didn't grow up in Dallas. I grew up in the Seattle, Washington area.
Oof.
Right? No, about 20 miles outside of the city of Seattle, and that's home for me. Right? Go Seahawks, as you know. But lived there most of my life. Played sports through high school, through college, and ended up pursuing a door-to-door sales career when I was in my early to mid-20s. 24, I think. I spent my first summer on the doors, left for Oklahoma City, and then ended up in Dallas, Texas about 5 or 6 years ago. So not from Dallas, Seattle.
So you were in Oklahoma. Was that with Trevor Frank?
That was with Frank, baby.
Oh,
Cup
boy.
champs.
Wow.
I think we won the Cup or were in the Cup finals every year I was there.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
So how long did you do the alarms for?
I did alarms for 5 summers with Vivint, right? And then transitioned to the solar game in West Texas in, what was that, end of 2019, start of 2020, right? So 5 summers alarms, and then 4 years solar.
Dang. You're going to be a veteran.
A 10-year vet here.
10-year veteran coming up
soon. Yeah.
You'll finally join the Oscar Luna and Patsy.
A decade. You do this shit for a decade. It's
crazy.
It makes you a little different.
So one thing I want to say, you transitioned industry. So Ian,
Right.
as I'm looking at you, is there anything else that you're transitioning right now?
No, not yet. And I would be the first to come out and tell you.
Okay.
But no.
Because I was just wondering.
No.
That's what we need to find out here on the Rizz.
That's what this shit's about. Okay. No, that's I'm moving. Bought a new house, right?
There you go.
There we go.
Congratulations. What is
Yeah.
that, your 5th house in the last 5 years, or what is this?
Yeah, this will be property number 5. Mm-hmm.
Main home or investment?
This will be the main one.
Nice, dude.
Maybe
Congrats.
forever. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe you can come over and hang out at my house.
Oh, there
right?
we go.
Let's go.
We'll do one of these Rizz episodes.
It ain't like this one, but
So tell us a little bit more. Obviously, you've been indoor 5 years, or 9 years almost. Where do you feel? Where do you feel your growth was the most in your life, and what was the biggest impact of that growth?
what time in my life did I go through the most growth? We always think about those like main transitions, right? Where, whether we change industries or something came up in our personal life where our back was against the wall, right? And so I can think of 2 kind of main transitions when I did transition from alarms to solar, right? It was there was a lot going on in my personal life and a lot of things that were, financially I had to really step up to the plate. And so already had the work ethic, already knew I could sell, door to door, and starting really maximizing that in solar. And not, I think I was fortunate enough to have the mentality where I wasn't trying to just make good money, at the beginning, right? Some guys are satisfied, with 5 installs a month, making enough money to live and be comfortable. But I wanted to change my life, right? And so that was the first real transition. And then I think the second one was probably about 1.5 years or 2 years into it when, made the commitment to wanting to grow horizontally, right? Build out teams, offices, and, really grow, help the company grow. And so there was I call it like a 6-month transition period. And I tell my leaders this is like, eventually there's going to come a time when you want people to have more success than you have, right? You want them to close more deals than you. You want them to make more money than you. And there's a transition time where sometimes you are making less money because you're putting other guys first. And I never was that guy, selling alarms my first year or 2 in solar. But when I started focusing on building up, my people, there was a 6-month transition period where I was actually making less money, right? Wasn't closing every night in the field anymore, but after 6 months of doing that, it really started to pay off. growth was exponential at that point instead of just personal commission.
And I feel like I remember hearing this once from one of my mentors. Like he talked about as a leadership, the Chinese proverbs, they don't believe in a straight line going up. They believe in a Chinese noodle, where as you're growing, you're going to have your ups where you're actually fully growing, but also you're recruiting new guys. You feel like your volume's going down or income's going down.
Right.
But when the next round up, you feel like you're growing again just because all these guys are finally producing. All the investment you did in them is kicking off. And I feel like some leaders nowadays, they're too scared to lose a little money for the next 4 to 5 weeks, while they're transitioning and growing these new teams and don't realize the bigger picture, which like you mentioned.
No, 100%. And you have to look at the big picture. You have to kind of zoom out and take a bird's eye view of the situation and the organization and decide what you want, right? And I knew what I wanted, and there's like that gray area of like, man, I am making less money this month than I was last month. But then fast forward 6 months and it's better than it ever was.
Nice. So earlier you said you talked about how you get up, almost when your body tells you to get up.
Right.
But what's your motivation? Like what drives you? Like are you driven by a relationship, growth of money, or like what basically is your driven?
So there's some new whys, that have been thrown in there lately. You got a baby on the way. We can now announce it, right? Pretty excited about that.
Congratulations.
It's yours too.
I hope so.
It's exciting.
I hope so. Yeah, it's mine. Some of my best friends are people that I've worked with alongside, and they're also competitors in the industry, right? So I would say relationships is what I value probably the most. And when you get into a position where people are counting on you and they're relying on you on a day-to-day basis, that's what gets me up every day and motivates me to go to work and go hard.
Love that, especially when you have once you have obviously the big region team you have more of a why, more people to be responsible for. Mm-hmm. But speaking of relationships, so what rules do you have for like relationships?
Rules for relationships. That's a good question. I think when people talk about loyalty, right, and it's one of those things where it's like we throw it around loosely and people take advantage of it. And I'm not like, hey, you got to work with me forever. But some basic rules are, open, honest communication, right? Whether you're doing what you want and it's against my wishes, whatever, or yours or ours, that's fine, but honesty, open communication, don't lie, cheat, and steal. Never steal from people that are in your family. And, you have to cut people off, right? And you've had to do that over the years. And it's like sometimes letting poisonous, toxic people ruin your relationship, it's harder to cut those people off, because they have a way of manipulating you. But cutting that fat, trimming the fat sometimes is what needs to happen. And like it, looking back, it feels really damn good sometimes to do that.
No, it's true, which kind of leads to that phrase people say, you are the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with. Mm-hmm. What do you agree with that?
100%. 100%. You have to surround yourself with people that are better than you, right? The cliche slogan is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? And that's true. And so I we talk about building sales teams. One thing that I wanted to focus on is like I want to recruit people that are better than me. I'm not intimidated by that, right? I want to learn from people that are better than me. And everybody, when you talk about a team and an organization, everybody has to play their part. And so there should be certain people that absolutely dominate you in other aspects of the business, and you need them to complement each other, right? So absolutely, hanging out with, the sum of the 5 people you hang out with is going to make up who you are. Absolutely. If you're the smartest person in the room, every time you're in the wrong room.
Well, do you have to be the smartest person, or
I never am.
Well, I mean, when you're
Except for right
recruiting
now.
people, though, I mean, when is the time that it's like, okay, well, sometimes you need to be the smartest guy to pull people up, and then do you go to bigger, better rooms to get fueled up so that you can pour it into your next generation? Because the thing is, we're in servant leadership, and the thing is we serve people that are aspiring to be like us. So I mean, ideally, I would love to sit with Bill Gates all the time, but there's guys that need to get shadow trained. Where have you found is the sweet spot where you go get filled up from the top and then go fill up people beneath you in your organization?
I think when we look at a lot of the competition, right? Like competitors in the industry, a lot of times people will put up this wall. I don't do that. Like, I like to learn from them and go chop it up, go have dinner. Even though I'm not trying to recruit them at all, but hear about their successes, right? Hear about how they're doing things. Guys like you, right? That are, crush it on the platform you're on with, Taylor McCarthy, those types of things. But, you're right. There's a fine line to where, you have to learn from people better than you, invest in yourself to do that. But I like to learn a lot from my competitors, learn from guys that I've worked with in the past, right? Guys like Trevor Frank, who absolutely dominated,
yes, he did.
Still dominating, and, learning, transitioning guys like you, and then picking off different qualities from everybody and then giving that to your people.
Yeah. What education outside of the space are you pulling from currently? Have you done anything outside of the space and brought it in? Like for me, I went to do theater a lot, and then I brought that into here. Are you doing anything outside education?
Honestly, this might sound stupid, but I like to study coaches, right? College coaches, professional coaches, read up on them. So I've read, as far as books go, like what I like to read, stuff written, Phil Jackson's book, 11 Rings. One of my favorite books, Pete Carroll, Win Forever, right? Urban Meyer, read his book. Those are, because if you think about it, like running a big time college football program is kind of similar to what we do, right? We're recruiting young kids, we're coaching them, we're trying to get them good at the day-to-day job, but we're also trying to develop them, to do other things in life. And so I like to study on coaches. Like the books I read are usually written by coaches.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then, investing in the D2D Rizz. What's the new one that's launching?
Authentic.
No, the new one that's launching in September.
Lord of the Doors.
Lord of the Doors.
That's right. Yeah, one of my new competition platforms.
I'm going to be in on that.
That's dude. I think we got to get some of your guys in. Oscar said he's excited to see who's going to win.
Yeah, Peyton Shanks.
Yeah.
Peyton, I know Oscar Flores is going to be pissed off, but
dude, Peyton has been he's been tagging me for like 3 years. I never met the guy, and I go into the training today. I'm like, bro, you're that dude that keeps tagging me in everything, and it's crazy. And he's like, hell yeah, bro. And then what it is, he's one of the top reps of the team right now.
And
he's
like,
crushing it.
He's crushing. Like I think he's like getting one almost every day.
He's I mean, you look at the summer, right? May through end of August, he's top closer in the region on the summer.
Dude.
Dominating, dude.
And I had no idea, and it's like, bro, and it's starting to make sense now because success leaves clues. This guy's tagging me, using my products to sell, and I'm like, holy crap, dude. He's vocalizing and he's visualizing being a top rep, and he's pushing it out there, so that makes sense why he's performing. Because there's a lot of guys that sell a lot, but you don't hear anything about it. So that's why it's really cool to see guys like that pushing it out into the space and like tagging me in social media and like dominating at such a high level. So it's pretty cool.
No, that's pretty good. I know even like those platforms you were talking about, like some of those books you mentioned, like they're definitely. I never heard of actually an analogy of visualizing the door like coaching a football team, which is so true. Like you really are recruiting young
managing.
kids.
Yeah, you're similar age groups, right?
Yeah,
And then
love that.
So it makes sense why your team today won 8-1, Oscar.
Exactly.
You've been doing this
Coach
for years.
Luna.
I'm
Luna.
recruiting them already young.
Win
That's
forever.
right.
I tell them, give me 12
Let's
years.
go.
So obviously, going back to what Pets was saying. So what are some of your favorite books or some of your favorite business people you like to follow, or your books you like to learn from?
I mean, like I said before, I like to follow coaches. Like I'm a sports fan, and I can relate a lot to what we do to coaching, right? Especially on the recruiting aspect. But one of the guys like Phil Jackson, you would be I don't know if you like Phil Jackson or not.
Oh yeah,
you're a Lakers fan,
guy.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read his book, but he's really big on Zen, and he used to do yoga with his teams.
Yep.
And the cool thing about Phil Jackson, not only did he win a bunch of championships, and he coached MJ, he coached Kobe and Shaq and all that, but was how he could bring in a unique group of personalities together and work as one.
Yeah.
And, guys like Dennis Rodman and crazy personalities.
Know who reminds me like a Dennis Rodman in your guys' organization?
I know what you're going to say.
Who am I going to say?
My boy JL.
Big loony baby.
The
He is
worm.
literally
But the thing is about Dennis Rodman, when his energy was channeled, he was the best rebounder and best defensive player in basketball. Mm-hmm. Like, you need that. You need people like that. And he was really good at bringing them together. They called him the Zen master, right? And he talks about being at zero, right? To where your mind, everything in your life, you're not swayed one way or the other. You're at zero, and your brain is an open channel. You can absorb more, you can learn more when your brain is at zero. So Phil Jackson dives deep into that, and I was like, that's the shit right there.
Oh, so true.
I loved it.
That's the thing is, like, some people, like, where they think they know a lot in their industry or what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They kind of have like a block on their wall in their brain where they have.
Right. Or they're tainted on their previous success, where like they feel like they're entitled to things. Yes. Phil Jackson also says, like, you're only successful at the moment you perform a successful act, right? So you have to keep doing it. Yep. And in door to door or in sales, like, this is a high repetition job. You got to do it day in, day out, week in, week out to keep being successful.
Yeah, and that's what I've liked about this job. It keeps people true. It keeps people honest.
Right.
You can you either step up or you step out. There's no in between, and that's what keeps this space so real. Because it's funny that now that I've obviously transitioned into coaching, a lot of people that haven't put in the time on the doors try to come into the space, and they get exposed immediately.
Right.
And people are like, though they see through it right off the bat. And that's why it's like, dude, this is not something where someone can come in and be an internet marketer. Like, you can look at the numbers, you can predict how much somebody's made or not, and if they're full of crap. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things that keeps this space so true. And it's why it's so hard, is if you can do this, dude, you can literally do freaking anything. And that's what's cool, seeing how you started off in the Bronx back in the day in Oklahoma, because I followed along with that very closely. And then now you're growing in the ranks. And, dude, it makes sense. Success leaves clues.
Absolutely. Hey, getting dropped off, nothing but a name badge and an iPad.
That's right.
Teach you how to sell.
At least you had an
figure
iPad.
it out.
Bro,
we had a knocking street.
Dude,
Stop. Back in my
a little
day.
knocking street
That's
with a binder.
it. Dude, I had chalk. I had chalk knocking and putting X's on it.
Excellent house.
And then I was in Seattle, so the homeless people would piss on it, so I didn't know my street the next day.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible, dude.
Oh, the golden days.
What got you fired up when Oscar said you're going to be on the Rizz? What about the Rizz has made you be like, dude, I need to get on this podcast?
Bro, well, number one, doing it here. Like, where are we at? We're at the Luna Resort, right? The Luna Mansion. Like, anytime I can come over here, I do, right? Hang out, get lost in the mansion. But I'll be honest, I don't know much about the Rizz. But anything you touch turns to gold.
100%.
So, being able to be next to some of the greats in the industry, chopping it up with you guys, and the platform and people you connect with, it's badass.
Dude,
I'm stoked about that.
the Rizz is what it is.
And we're going to the spa later.
They are the Rizz spa. The Rizz spa.
So one last thing, Ian. I know earlier you mentioned culture. Like, what do you think good company culture is?
Good healthy culture.
Yeah, good company culture.
I love a good healthy culture of competition, right? I love seeing guys compete, with each other, amongst themselves, team competitions. So like when you get like team, right? You talk about team and going out and competing against other teams. I think that's the best form of culture there is, right? And working together as one. And then other things, culture is like, you gotta spend time and do things off the doors or outside of the office. Team night, vacations and trips and stuff like that, where, you can connect to guys and not talk about money, not talk about numbers, not talk about, sales training, all that stuff. Like, go out and just kick it, right? Play golf, top golf, taco night, bowling, whatever the case is.
Nick and Sam's.
Nick and Sam's. But, stuff like that creates culture. And then also, helping guys when they start making money, how to be smart with the money and invest it properly.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to keep people, locked into your culture and keep them around. And so all of that tied together. But for me, I'm a little old school. First and foremost, a good, healthy, competitive culture, right? Where guys want to be the best. They care about the leaderboard. They care about the competitions. They care about the incentives. I think that first and foremost over anything else.
Sick, dude. Competitions are key, and I know that's really what pushed me hard at the beginning of my career. Is my first year was to beat my friends. The second year was to be the top in the office, and then the third and fourth year was to be at the top of the company. Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't think I'd still be here if I didn't have those goals. And I think those are important for beginning people, because eventually you win enough awards, you win the competitions, and then you just got to start looking for deeper levels of motivation, kind of like you had, seeing other people win. Right. If you're watching this and you're new, you are not going to be motivated to see other people win at the beginning of your career. And so eventually you grow into that. And so if you're watching this, go and compete, go beat some people, go have some fun in a healthy way. Don't sell unethically. Don't do things the wrong way. That's why Oscar said doing it in a healthy fashion is important, because the last thing you did, I've won where I cheated before and I didn't feel good about it. All of my trophies I win, I remember the couple times that I cheated and I, had dudes put deals in my name and didn't actually win the competition like I thought I was. And I was like, cool, I got this shirt, but I felt cheap doing it. So those sacrifices, although short-term pain or short-term gain, long-term pain. And so for me, I've always said, just do it the right way and you'll feel good. But unfortunately, you got to go through the ranks. And like I said, lean into that competition, find it within your team, then find somebody in your company, and then find somebody in the industry, and then take over the industry. And that's kind of the trajectory that you want to have.
No, I love that. Hopefully, Pesci gets to finally finish step 3 on his goal, but no one
transition.
Yeah, but so what message do you have here for the audience today, Ian?
What message do I have?
What message do you want to leave with?
Man, you put me on the spot.
That's the Rizz. That's what we do here.
Let's go.
Here on the Rizz.
Let's go. I would say, so, open-ended question, but if we talk about the solar space, right? That's the industry I've become obsessed with over the last 4 years, I guess, is it's a magical industry, but you're only going to get out of it what you put into it, right? And not to sound cheesy, but like, you have to do the right thing and sell clean business and truly look out for the customer to make this industry last, right? We've seen it change a ton over the last 4 years. And people are saying the golden years of solar are behind us. You're never going to make as much money. That's fine, right? But if you truly put the customer first and prioritize them having a good customer experience, this industry is going to last forever. And it's made a lot of millionaires, which guys that probably didn't think they would become millionaires in the door-to-door space. And it's we should be very grateful for it. And so that'd be my message is, for everybody out there in solar, or if you're new to it, do the right thing, service your customers, and, what we get out of it moving forward is going to be what we put into the industry right now.
Love it, which is true. Like Pesci and I were just talking about this over breakfast this morning, how there's so many companies out there that are not even going to be around this next quarter just because of the bad business they allowed the reps to do. And, a lot of these investors, loan companies, they're obviously
pulling their cards.
Yep. They're basically, sick and tired of these bad accounts.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? We've all, it's door-to-door sales. We've all done things, to push the envelope and be aggressive. But, when you look at the big picture, what's really important, and prolonging the industry and getting as much out of it as we can while it's still here for us.
That's right.
Super
Great
important.
Message, Ian, for sure. So where can the audience find you, Ian? Where can they follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram, Ian Atkinson 03. I'm in Arlington, Texas every day, right? DFW, let's go.
Dude.
Well, sweet guys, thanks once again for watching the show. Thanks, Ian, for being here.
Absolutely.
Passive co-host, awesome.
Dude, we killed it. Ian, great work.
Thanks, bro.
Good job. Love
Appreciate you.
it. And, keep killing it, baby.
Let's go.
This is another episode of
The Rizz.
Who?